down.
So I've come to the conclusion, just a rotten piece of fruit. So I'll end up dying slowly, rotting away. See, I just want to be able to climb without a fall, to get out of this maze and run. Please strike me thunder, let me get closer to the light. Please strike me thunder, so I can be free. So I've come to the conclusion, I'm just one man amongst thousands. In this world I love them, sure they'll do fine without me. The chemicals in my head don't work as yours, 'cause every piece of road is a little bit of happiness, and every kind of load causes a little bit less regret. Please strike me thunder, let me get closer to the light. Let me go under the water till I can breathe free. Let me go up, 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 let me go up.
Everything falls into place. The minute you leave and give me space. I wanna know how it feels to live and let go without being put in my place. I'ma just dive right into the wild side, and I'ma ride the wave until I die. Until I die. My skin is cold, as is my heart. I'm falling apart with a smile. My bridges are burning, I'm holding the match. I'm ready to fall, we catch. Dive right into the wild side.
Okay, go ahead. Hey, good evening, everyone. This is Robert with Mr. Texas Real Estate. This is the Texas Real Estate Radio Network. Thanks again for joining us tonight. We certainly appreciate you guys coming on here at night and taking a listen, or if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, or if you're listening on a podcast. We appreciate all of your attention. Thank you so very, very much. We're going to talk a couple of things tonight. I got some Tesla updates and some other things going on, but I do want to start off the program in these first couple of segments talking about who's really investing, like who's really putting the money back into the marketplace, because it's become very, very interesting to kind of read the data and then read through the lines on the data. So if you had listened in last night, we talked about, hey, what is actually a deal? And the fact that and if you listened last week about the market moving, so there's, again, Houston is going to become a really, really, in my opinion, good spot for hedge funds. So what does that mean? Well, remember last week we talked about the fact that the single-family houses now are over $300,000, closing in on $400,000. Starter homes are just off the map, right? They're just not there anymore. You're not going to find anything where you're going to be able to afford a house based on the median income in the United States, which was always sort of Texas. It was right there, right? So your $60,000 to $90,000 is going to become a challenge to find something nice to be a family, to raise a family in good school districts and all that. And so what happens is now we have a new class out there, and these are good job renters, right? And again, if every marketplace out there, every large metropolitan area already has this, right? New York, LA, Denver, Seattle, Chicago, Dallas, right? They've gone through these cycles of real estate appreciation, and now they got people that have good jobs, nurses, teachers, clerks, people have got people, managers at Costco, all these kinds of things that can't afford 20% down or 3.5% down or debt to income or FICO issues. And so they're just not going to be able to get a house, right? And that happened, again, it happens every cycle. And so here in Houston, there are people that have good jobs, maybe in those jobs 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years, who are no longer going to be able to afford a house because the housing prices are so high and that they have just some challenges to get a mortgage. And so one of the things we've always looked at, and I don't know anyone else has ever talked about it, is the affordability index. And that is obviously has been stepped up. So if houses are no longer affordable to the medium household salary, right? The income in a medium household, 60, 68, right? Even all the way up maybe 80, 90, you're still going to have problems. So we have this new class of people out there that have got good jobs, and they're decent. They haven't had evictions. They're just going to rent for 5 to 6 years while they try and save up and get themselves in order, ready to buy a house. Well, what does that say to hedge funds that are super interested in buying and holding? That means that they have a better section of tenant to kind of put into their properties. So they've got better tenants now. They have lots and lots of money. They can buy up everything. This is what's happening. In fact, I think we have one of a hedge fund. I think at the open house in 2 days, we have a guy who does acquisitions for hedge funds. So it'd be very interesting to see what he has to say about the marketplace. But anyway, we think that, hey, now that they're going to be zeroing in, if they haven't already, they already are, right? So they're looking at it and they're saying, okay, we've got good tenants now, right? Because remember, when it wasn't affordable, when the affordable index was down, if you made people who couldn't buy a house were people who were making $40,000 to $50,000 a year, right? It was a tough struggle 5 years ago. Now if you're making 75 to 100, it's a tough struggle. But if you're making 75 to 100, that's in their minds that is a better grade of tenants because they've got good jobs and decent FICO, and they're not having to worry about the debt to income ratio. They don't have to make the 3 times their monthly, 3 times the rent, and there's all these calculations we use for tenants coming in. So that would make me, as a hedge fund manager who does single families take a very strong look at the Texas marketplace. And there's a lot of other benefits about Texas. So many great things about the state for real estate investing. But now this is the sort of the cherry on top. We've got good job people looking for rentals. Now, we talked about it, I think last month. There was a group out of city that bought up a 246 unit development, just bought it right up, become landlords up in Conroe. So there's big money in the marketplace. And I know that everyone talks about the hedge funds and, the hedge funds. But I think now we're going to see a pretty good piece of capital being deployed here. So again, we're talking, I think we're not going to be talking about 10 or 15% of the market, but the 3 to 7% of the marketplace will shift everything and has shifted everything. So we're going to see large institutions coming into Houston, buying it up, flipping it, or buying it up, flipping it, and renting it, right? It's a good model. They've done it before. We know it works. They did it in Phoenix. They did it in Vegas. They did it in Southern California. They did it in Seattle. They did it in whole bunch. They did it in Miami. They did it in Tennessee. They've done it all over the place. But now all of a sudden this market becomes really, really hot. So when you start getting out of that RIA club world and sort of stepping up and started talking to these asset managers, you're going to find out who's really doing the investing. And it's going to be large institutions. And, you can compete with them on different levels. There's some strengths and weaknesses they have. Obviously, their strength is, to the layman, unlimited capital, right? But they don't know the market. They have to rely on folks to do what they need to do. They overpay usually on everything. They have quality control issues all the time. Like the QC is the biggest problem of those hedge funds buying properties. They get a bad rap. They hide behind property managers and they get bad raps. And, they're just trying to hold that asset for 5 to 10 years like we're doing. But they're coming in with a lot of money. So I see those guys as being the folks that are absolutely working this market, deploying lots of capital, and being really, really happy with an average rent of $2,050 was the average rent in the last HAR report. That's really sexy if you're buying that house for $180, $160, putting a little love into it. The rent's going to go up. I'll tell you what they're really good at, the hedge funds folks, is that rent matrix. They know when to raise it, how much to raise it based on demand in the marketplace. They're very, very good at it. So they're going to come into this marketplace and they're going to do really, really well. Well, they're already here, but I foresee them coming in a much bigger way in the next year. So stick with us. This is Robert with Mr. Texas Real Estate. We're going to be back from the break, but you need to go check out our website, mrtxre.com. MR is in Mr., TX is in Texas, RE.com. And you're going to be able to find out all our live events where we go into great detail about the marketplace and the strategies to take advantage of the marketplace at this time. This is Robert. I'll be back. All right, everyone, welcome back. This is Robert here with the world-renowned Mr. Texas Real Estate. This is the Texas Real Estate Radio Network. Hey, so we're talking about who's really buying. So for sure, there are large out-of-state hedge funds zeroing in on this marketplace, buying properties. Then you're going to have the in-house, the in-state, the in-city brokers and property managers and asset managers who are just buying up everything in their backyard. Okay, and again, I'm really talking about 3 to maybe 7% of the marketplace, maybe 8% at most. But that 8% is really pushing out the guy at the real estate club who thinks he's wanting to go out and buy a house for $60,000 and flip it, right? The guy who came off the guru bus and numbers are completely wrong. So there's local guys. Again, I think Mr. Texas Real Estate, myself, Jason, Brian, we have a real advantage in this marketplace because we've seen it before. I've seen it in LA. Everything that is happening now happened before in LA in 2013. And I was right in the middle of it. So we talk, the three of us, three principals, we talk all the time. I'm like, hey, I think let's watch this indicator. Jason will pull up all the data. He's like, yeah, all right, let's put a little flag on it. 60 days later, wow, look, we're right. It's a great indicator. So we do some deep analysis into this marketplace. So because of that, we feel like, hey, we're in a very strong position. We know what to buy, how to buy these things, how to get it financed, how to work with investors to turn over, hey, real nice numbers, right? We have a new fund coming out, the Texas Real Estate Appreciation Fund. It's actually open right now. And we think we're going to do very well in that fund. We're just paying a preferred return, plus we're giving a preferred bonus at the end. So if you want more information on that, you just go ahead and text Brian. You know the number, 281-401-9008. Ask Brian for more information. His assistant, Jamie's up there. She's our new investor relation manager. She's awesome. You'll be able to talk to her. So then we're really heading into guys like us. Okay? And we're still small potatoes, right? We haven't even crossed 7 figures. So we're very, very small potatoes. Okay? 8, 9 figures. So when we get over 100 million, I think then the makeup of our organization is completely different, and guys like me and Jason will have to move out of the way, make way for a really strong CEO who has lots of real estate and lots of financing issues, CFOs, things like that. But we're growing it, and we hope to get to 100 million before I retire. That'll be bonus for me. So in order to do that, we have to make sure that we understand the marketplace, take care of the marketplace, and have all those little ancillary products and services strong. So I look out there on the horizon, I see, well, that's a really strong asset right there. That's a strong service over there. These guys kind of know what they're doing, but they're all still doing it in a single bound, right? They're all just trying to do it themselves. Versus Mr. Texas Real Estate that has brought in some really smart people on a lot of different areas of real estate. So again, I do think, and I do feel very, very strongly that we have a distinct advantage in this marketplace, and we're doing it. And we are under contract right now for 5 single families in this marketplace. Now, it's not a lot. It's maybe $600,000 of acquisition, but it's a lot when we're talking about people at our level trying to find deals, and these are deals. 15 duplexes, a couple 3s and 4s, small apartment buildings. It's about $5 million in the mix right now we're trying to get closed on. That's nice. They're out there. We're finding them because we know where to look. We know how to make the offers, and we know how to finance them. So guys like us are going to do well. Now, for the most part, guys like us aren't on the radio. They're not doing podcasts. They're not standing on stage at a free beer and chicken wing event, right? They wear their suits to work, and they come in. They drive in from Sugar Land, or they drive up to the Woodlands or wherever they live, and they go to work, and they're moving around tens of millions of dollars every month, and then they go home. And they're playing the market just, again, with great data, with great understanding. So I think in our world, we're probably the most accessible. You can find us. You know where our building is, 52595 Hollister, 5295 Hollister Street. Make sure you're coming out for the event on Thursday. And so there's guys like us buying. Which means, the mom and pops are having problems. They're having some problems. They don't have the system set up. They don't understand the marketplace like we talked about yesterday. They're gonna spend the next 2.5 to 3 years waiting for the next crash. And unfortunately, when they finally are right in year 5 from now, in 2026, and there is an adjustment to the marketplace, it's not coming back to 2019 prices. It'll come back a year. Your 2026 crash will be 2024 prices. And it still won't be enough for you to handle it the way that you were doing deals in 2014, 2013, and 2012. So there's a lot of real estate investors, the mom and pops, that are simply pushed out of this marketplace due to not understanding the marketplace, not being able to change their method of acquisitions and their strategy on the end game, and they find themselves outside of the market. Now, there are new people coming in, and this is the brilliance of real estate. It's a massively transient business, right? Like, the joke is, I've been a broker for 42 years, and I have closed over $300 million or $500 million worth of real estate. And, of course, my question always is, well, why are you still here? Right? What are we doing here? We're talking about $50 million that you should have been able to peel off from this. Why are you still here? Well, because they didn't invest in the marketplace. They just became transaction-based, and they're not investing, right? Or the developer, hey, I've been doing development for 35 years. Great, how many times go BK, right? Because it's developers who are always the ones without the chair when the music stops. So there's people that get beat up in real estate. So longevity in this marketplace may not be the best sign. Now, if you have, 5 to 10 years of knowledge, that's really good. You can apply it, kind of like Jason and myself. But if we're still doing this at 25 years, oh my God, something went horribly wrong. So what will happen is, in this next series, this next 18 to 24 months, smart brokers and smart agents will grab deals. Okay? This is a big thing that happened in California between 2013 all the way up to 2018. 5 years. Smart brokers and smart agents will not allow deals to get out to the public. They're going to get the lead. They're going to say, well, we can put it on the market, and here's and they'll be 1,000% honest and truthful about the data, and the data is not going to look great because appraisers are taking forever right now. So it's a 90-day close world. Or they'll say, hey, or I can just come in and buy this cash. We'll close in 17 days. But I need a little bit of a discount. So those brokers and smart agents are going to start picking up deals. They have to. It's their business. That's what's going to happen. So now you're going to be competing with the broker, the smart one at least, who understands this marketplace, who's going to put some effort and find some capital and get in and get out of this thing in 5 years. That's who you're competing against. Those are the real people who are going to be buying. Hey, this is Robert with Mr. Texas Real Estate. This is the Texas Real Estate Radio Network. We'll be right back. Hey, welcome back, everyone. Robert here with the world-renowned Mr. Texas Real Estate. This is the Texas Real Estate Radio Network. So tonight we're talking about who's actually investing in the real estate market, who's actually buying properties, okay? We talked about yesterday, like, what is a deal? What does it actually look like? And I would say, for the most part, good deals are now going to be recognized on their ability to cover the debt. And in this marketplace, it's not going to be unheard of to see 1.4, 1.5 debt service coverage ratio. And more lenders will be looking at that as a part of the matrix of the underwriting versus just a straight appraisal. Right? There's a mass competition out there to deploy capital. And so in order for us to start deploying capital, smart underwriters, smart capital groups are going to look at it and say, well, why didn't we do this loan? Why did we turn down this loan? Well, we turned down this loan because it was at an 85% of ARV. I got it. That's a little risky, but what were other factors in there? And they'll look at it and they'll say, but look, yes, it was 85% of ARV, but this has a 2.0 DSCR, debt service coverage ratio. So guess what? We should have did that loan. So then you're going to see new products released that are going to be based on DSCR or heavily weighted to DSCR. It'll still be the same thing, FICO reserves, and you'll always have to do an appraiser because the end buyer is going to want to see the value of it. But they're going to go to their end buyer and be convincing these folks to buy these non-QM notes at 85% ARV. It's not going to be a hard sell because there's capital's got to go somewhere. So again, understanding what a good deal looks like, what a good deal looks like 6 months from now, very, very important. We talked about the market update. Again, I'll just, for review, there is now a new class of folks in Houston, in Central Texas, in South Texas. It's this: good jobs, families that have good paying jobs, teachers, nurses, auto mechanics, retail managers, all these guys that can make very, very well, do very well, are not able to buy houses because even though they're above the medium income threshold for the United States, here in Texas, that is not going to cover your debt to income ratio. You're going to be needing about $80,000, $90,000, $100,000 to really start looking at the properties that you want to live in. Now, can you go buy a townhouse in the rough side of town? You can. But you want to go get that Katy School District. You want to be in that 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-car garage, brick face. You want that. And that thing is going to be pushing $269,000, $289,000 pretty quickly. So, if those are all what's really happening, then who's buying? Well, we know for sure there are outside groups who are not just willing to lend in the market, but they're willing to own. Those being some large banking institution, hedge funds within large banking institutions that are willing to come here, take over the property, and be a landlord versus being a lender. Right? Because there's such competition now in being a lender. So they'd rather just go buy the asset. We already saw that. You saw an article, 246 unit development Conroe just bought by one bank. Not foreclosed on, they bought it as an investment. And it was only 50% rented. They're competing. The local guys who have been doing this for a decade or so or more, have got good access to capital, can move pretty quickly, they're going to benefit. We always talk about Chris. Like, he's absolutely crushing it. He's doing great. And then that other class, which becomes weird, and we'll talk a little bit more about this, it's the smart broker and the smart agent. And they're going to tell an absolutely 1,000% true story. I know you want $280,000 for this house, and you'll probably get it. So it's going to be about 30 days to get through all the contracts and the listings and all that stuff. But then the appraisers are now taking 60 to 90 days, which again is a true statement. So you could be waiting 90 to 120 days before you get your money out of this house. Well, I don't want to wait that long. Okay, I will make you an offer, but it's going to be below the 260. I'd like to buy this house from you at 240. I think everyone will do happy, everyone will do well, and they may say, okay, I'll take it. And those brokers and those agents are well aware of the Eddie Gants of the world, right? Of the Sean Rileys from Capital Con. They're well aware of those guys. They've kept an ear to the ground on those guys, and now they're coming around. If you're going to the super investor thing tomorrow night, or if you're at our event on Thursday, I'm telling you to take a hard look, start networking, and you're going to be shocked how many agents and brokers are in that room. They're not there to list your deal, friends. They're there to scoop your deal. Right? You're going to get a lot of agents who are going to be in that room, and they're looking for deals. And you know why they're showing up? Because they need a good contractor. I want you to understand this. In all these RIA clubs and all these events that are just getting going and people are coming out, we're about to see a larger concentration, a larger attendance of brokers and agents who are going to go there and say they work with real estate investors, but that's not what they're looking for. They're there looking for the same thing you're looking for. They're looking for cheap capital and contractors. And so they'll start showing up. Yeah, I'm a broker. Yeah, I can do. They're really trying to basically build their own portfolio. They've got the inside track on a lot of these deals. Again, 1,000% true. 30 days to get all the contracts and all that stuff together. 90 days to get the appraisal back. Another 30 days to close. You're looking at anywhere between 90 and 120 days to get your money. If you'd like, I will buy it from you for just, 10% less. Great, let's do it. Okay, good, let's do it. Then they got this property, and they need a plumber, and they need an electrician, they need a roofer, and they need all the same things we need. But trust me, keep an eye out. Let me know when you start seeing a lot more brokers and agents at these events. Because they're not there. They're going to say they're there because they want to work with investors, but they're not. They're your competition. Because they've got an inside track to a lot of these properties. And it doesn't take much to get a broker motivated, especially someone who's been in the business for 10 years, just to kind of look what they sold the house for to the investor 6 months ago and what the investor made today on a flip, or what they sold the house, a duplex to, and what the rents are. They'll be very motivated very quickly. We beat that curve because we just tell all our EXP agents, EXP is who we use, we want you to buy houses. So we really work with them on becoming broker agents, investor brokers and investor agents. So, again, who's really buying? Hedge funds. Some of the larger guys that have real jobs, like wear suits, not me, right? But wear suits to work and drive in their BMWs and their Mercedes-Benz or their big trucks, and they go in at 8 and they come home at 6, and they live in the Woodlands, they live in Sugar Land, they live in some really nice parts, and they're just buying up property. It's their day job. And then you're out there, have a day job, and you're trying to compete, and the person you're really competing with is broker agents now because they have an inside track. They need the contractors. They need the hard money. They need private investors. They're all in this marketplace with you now. Those are the folks that will be investing. It's going to be harder and harder for the mom and pops to do it without some guidance like the mastermind. All right, guys, this is Robert with the world-renowned Mr. Texas Real Estate. We got one more segment, so we'll be back. Hey, welcome back, everyone. Robert with the world-renowned Mr. Texas Real Estate. This is the Texas Real Estate Radio Network. We're talking about the marketplace. I mean, we want you to go out into the marketplace. We want you to come to the mastermind. We're working with, 60 so folks in the mastermind to come out, start working, get deals, get it going. And there's some different competition in the marketplace these days. It's not the person off the guru bus, right, taking the bus tour. It's not that person. It's not the guru guy who flies people in from Arizona. Those numbers don't work. They don't understand what they're telling people. They don't understand the market. There's no insight. But the folks with the insight are going to be the major institutions, hedge funds, banks, right? Or it's going to be big-time REITs in this marketplace who understand the marketplace. Or, and this is probably the shocker for you, it's going to be very savvy brokers and very savvy agents. They're going to start buying up deals because this is the time to buy deals. As we said yesterday and last week, we got a 5-year run here. Everything's going to be really sexy over the next 18 to 24 months. If that's the case, Why wouldn't a broker start buying up small apartments instead of listing them? They don't have to do any sort of chicanery, no trickery. They just tell the truth. It's 90 days to get an appraiser. 60 days to get an appraisal back. Underwriters are backed up. Do you want to wait 120, maybe even 150 days? Or would you want to just close on this thing in less than 30 because I've got some private investors that they found at the RIA clubs that you go to? Know it. It's happening, and it will continue to happen. Again, over the next 18 months, you're going to see a lot more brokers and a lot more agents out of those networking events. And you're going to think that they're there to work with you. They're not. They're there to grab your deal, grab your contractor, and grab your investor. That's what's going to happen. So, hey, be prepared. Join our mastermind, or any sort of group that can kind of help you focus and move forward. That'd be really good. We think ours is really, really good. Again, we think we have a very distinct advantage in this marketplace between myself, Brian, and Jason. So we want you to take advantage of our knowledge. Join our mastermind. It's $12,500 for year one. It's $7,500 for year two. It's $5,000 for year three. $2,500 for year four. Now we want to make sure you're going to be successful. So we're going to need your income needs to be at least six figures, right? Because we talked about that income. And we're also going to need to make sure that you've got a good FICO score and you've got capital to deploy. If you have that and you're looking to get into real estate, then it's time to move. And you can join the mastermind. You can text us 281-401-9008, 281-401-9008. Just text mastermind and we'll get you going. So, again, that's what I think is who are buying in this marketplace based on what I've seen in Vegas and Southern California. And even in the Northeast. That cycle when people will start coming in. And again, mom and pop, or I'm going to go out there and hustle and get that's you guys are going to get pushed around. So you need to work with a group like us, Mr. Texas Real Estate Mastermind. All right, A-Rock. Did you see the Plaid release from Tesla? Whew. So one of the craziest things they did is they took it to an NHR track. They had an NHR representative there, and they clocked 0 to 60 in 1.92 seconds. And the driver was Jay Leno. So Jay Leno right now is the driver in the world's fastest 0 to 60 production car. If you look at it, it's like the event was so humdrum. It was so very boring. And whenever Elon has to read off of slides, it's not good. Right? He needs someone up there to bounce off of and to direct them and to focus them and ask dumb questions, because he's not going to give the answers that people are kind of looking for. But one of the things he said was, they redesigned the motor. This was the motor that's going to go into the X, the S, and the Roadster. And that it was spinning so fast and producing so much torque that the copper inside of it was unwinding itself. And so they had to deal something with that distortion field, and they used a carbon fiber. So now they have this insanely light engine that can hold that 200 miles per hour at a very long distance. They're not degrading over time because they're not losing energy. So they have this really sexy new engine that was just sort of like a throwaway line. So we looked at that. I'm sure Jason's going to get all jazzed up on that stuff, but we're hoping that those motors go into the Cybertruck. So for those of us here in Texas, if you don't realize it, if you haven't seen it, Tesla's building the world's largest building, which will be the Gigafactory outside of Austin. It's massive. They'll produce the Model Y, the Model 3, the trucks, and the Cybertruck, and the commercial trucks there. They'll probably produce at some point the $25,000 car will be produced there. But that building is going up super fast. They're already casting the full body for the Model Y. And they've talked about Model Ys will, the rumor is that Fremont will stop the Model Y production line, and the American-made Model Y will only be coming out of Texas. And it's supposed to have be within tolerance by less than 2%, which is an amazing, amazing number. We're talking about really, really high-end cars having that. We're talking about a Model Y, which is their mid-size car. So we're still super excited about our Teslas. A friend of mine, a guy I helped in California and introduced him to the Texas market, and I'm sure he's got decent amount of wealth he's created over the last 5 years and some cash flow. And he has some challenges with property management like anyone else from out of state. But I turned him on. He's doing really well. He's super excited. He's going to come back out to Texas next year and buy more property, and he's going for it. But he gave me probably my top 3 most thoughtful gifts ever. Like he topped out anything that I've ever gotten from, 97% of my time ever. It's an amazing, it's a Tesla parking sign. So I'm super excited about that. I want to make sure I say thank you to Jay in California for that. He got one for me and one for Jason. You'll see it. It'll be up on our webpage, up on Facebook when we get it mounted. It's just absolutely insanely thoughtful and useful because that's where we're going to park our Teslas. So I think we're getting we're getting the Cybertruck probably first for Jason. I'll wait and order the Model Y once Texas starts producing them because it's going to be a superior manufactured car. By the way, that's known as the Osborne effect. And then I'll have, a Cybertruck and a Model Y. And I'll keep my Jeep, but I'll have a Cybertruck and a Model Y. So I should be looking for getting some solar on my garage in the next 3 months. So that's our little Tesla journey coming up here. Thank you guys for hanging out with us tonight. Thank you for watching on our Facebook and our YouTube feed. Thank you for listening on our podcast. All of that, very good. We got a short intermission and a little message that me and Jason do at the end of the program coming back. My name is Robert. I'm with the world-renowned Texas Real Estate, Mr. Texas Real Estate. I'm here at the Texas Real Estate Investment Center. We expect to see you here on Thursday. This has been the Texas Real Estate Radio Network. Thank you all very much for joining us tonight. See you later. Good.